So you've shared, and I've seen this too, that employees engage the most with their equity actually when they're leaving. I've
Okay.
seen lots of emails fly by of somebody's leaving a successful company
Right.
and they're looking to raise money to buy their equity because they
Yeah.
they didn't budget for being able to do this, and now the equity is priced super high.
Mhm.
But I'm curious, if people only tend to interact with the equity when they're leaving, what does that say about how equity budgets are working today if
Um,
it's not even something that people think about until they're walking out the door?
yeah, maybe it's a sign that they're not working, right? But I think I remember when I kind of mentioned this on one of the other events, but the when you look at the data in a lot of the platforms, right, and obviously we provide a platform, we can see employee activity. Obviously, you'll log in when you get your first grant agreement. It's like, oh, I'm getting equity. Let me have a look what I do. I sign, I agree. That's good. But in the private markets, it's not like you usually can transact on it immediately, right? So you kind of park it. And then when time comes to get another offer, it's like, oh, okay, should I join the startup? I may want to negotiate equity in that one. Let me go and check what I have. So a lot of HR folks actually monitor activity, how often you log in and check the rules of the plan, your grant agreements to kind of get a sense, oh, you're thinking about leaving. So there's a lot of analytics on the back end that can be done. But I think, yeah, that's a good sign because like, hey, it's sort of working because, obviously it's important for you to check. So you want to understand where you're giving up. The worst thing you could do is people like, oh, I have a vesting tomorrow. I'm going to leave today and just forfeit everything. That's obviously, you know, that kind of shows that you haven't educated employees enough. But it's a good thing that people interact. Obviously, you want them to interact a little bit better. And I think the ways that it's being done in private markets more is an increasing number of like tender offers. So no longer equity is something you have to wait for like, 10, 15 years until exit happens. There's a lot of great examples, in even in recent days, like announcements of various offers that are actually happening. So it actually kind of makes equity real. And I want to kind of give you this example. In an investment philosophy, like traditional, when you look at the markets, company CEO sells their shares. Traditionally, it's like, oh, that's a red flag. Why would they sell their shares? Don't they believe their own company? Right? They know something, so they want to offload it, sell high, and then retail investors get screwed over. So there's this kind of like traditional philosophy, but that's a bad thing. What we've kind of seeing is that a lot more companies stop thinking this way and actually want to encourage the employees like, hey, you may want to sell our equity and just go buy some ETFs and diversify. That's actually a good thing. More companies starting to actually care about, their employees' financial well-being and providing that information as well. So it's no longer like a taboo. No one's going to look at you. Why are you selling companies' equity? Don't you believe in our success for the long term as well? It's not. It's actually becoming a lot more of a healthier debate and discussion now. So I think this is where it's kind of changing because traditionally, yeah, you would just look at it just like your rental agreement. What did I agree to it? Like, do I have to do like repairs in my apartment before I move out and all that kind of stuff, right? I think that was the traditional outlook on equity, but now it's like people are starting to get engaged throughout as well, which is, I think, is the sign to your question that the equity philosophy, the budget's actually starting to work more because for employees, it actually matters not just at the start and the end, but even kind of throughout the life cycle.